Okay, what I'm waiting on here is, I guess, service and alignment on both the RATS machines. I'm looking at the RATS UHF right now. It's supposed to be a fusion repeater, maybe wires X. That's the way I have it listed. Also have the RATS VHF machine, which I can pull up, and it's supposed to be fusion at the moment, I think. It's supposed to switch it back and forth, but they're doing some kind of regular maintenance right now, and I'm waiting for them to come back online and to announce their repairs and open to amateur use and whatnot. You can also listen to the RATS machine via the Motorola Astra Spectra just below the Android device with the SDR receiver. It's an RTL SDR version 3, and I'm actually using SDR. Oh, what is it called? I always say it's Angel, but it's something else. SDR Touch, I believe it is. I think SDR Angel might be a separate app, a separate driver app. I'm also listening to the RATS machine VHF via Scanner Radio app, which is supported by Broadcastify, I think. I think that's the way it works out. But that's how I use it. That's mainly how I can hear the VHF machine. Being here in Upper Saco Valley, it's a little difficult for me to hear the VHF as opposed to the UHF. But even sometimes the UHF is difficult for me to hear. And I attribute to that partly because my indoor antennas and the RFI from downtown. And then again, those two repeaters are about 14-ish miles from where I am, which normally isn't a big issue for anybody, but there's so much RFI, there's so much structure between here and there, not to mention the structure this is in. But the goal is to try and receive. If it's any better, if it changes for me, and it probably won't, which is really not a big deal, but for the others that are out there that don't have the same issues that I have, it will be hopefully a vast improvement for them on both VHF and UHF. I didn't exactly clock when they started this. There's a brief short related to this. They were working on that. They made the announcement on the VHF first, and they transferred over to the UHF, made a similar announcement, and I got that in the short. I'll try and link that video to this one. But hopefully it will be an improvement for both repeaters, and definitely improvement for reception. Hopefully an improvement for reception over here where I am, because they have a weekly net on the UHF machine. I suppose that'll all change when they flip-flop the modes again between VHF and UHF. I don't have wires X or fusion. If that's two different things, I don't have that capability, just analog. So I've learned it myself, but it is an expense. For a lot, it's not an expense. It's just it's an accessory. But I'm claiming expense because, well, I don't make money off that, which is fine. Not these videos. This is more for sharing, and it doesn't bother me a bit. Well, there's an interesting station. In the afternoon. Let's pull them up on the HT here. Doggone it. I don't mind programming this thing every time because it keeps me on my toes, supposedly. KC4 VDZ, K4 ARX. I'm sitting pretty good here in the house. Just wait for these guys to run their maintenance on the VHF and UHF for the RATS machines. Apparently they're down and they're doing some service.
It's a lot more work to keep these things up than people think. Of course, they're in a really rough RF environment over there.
Yeah, and it's kind of a hindrance for me too, having the inside antennas and the RFI downtown and then all the structures and whatnot. So hopefully it'll be a big change for me. And if it doesn't change much, that's okay. It's to be expected. But hopefully for the others that are out there that use those devices, it'll be an improvement.
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, no, it is. It's really tough. So, hey, pretty day though. I'm out trying to get a couple things done before I go back down and have my mom for the rest of the day. Kind of limits me to what I can do, and then same thing tomorrow all day. So, what I don't get done here in the next 15 minutes, we're gonna have to wait till Monday to get done.
Let's work on that squelch a little bit. Okay, sounds good. It's understood. And stuff you got to do. You got to spend time with your mom while you can.
Yeah, my brother's actually in town. He came down Thursday night, and he's got to go back there in a little while. But so he's been here for a day and a half. As you actually might have heard on the radio, his call is Kilo 2, MTB, Mike Thomas Baker. Actually, which happened to be his initials too. So he's got a vanity call. But yeah, so you might have heard him on the radio from time to time.
You know, let's see. I don't. Memory does not serve this morning, but I may have talked to him already. A couple others as well. I know I've talked to Bob, the before RTH, on the UHF machine a time or two, and maybe some others.
Yeah, Mike has actually talked on the UHF machine quite a bit as he goes around town when he's down here and stuff. So, and I ordered my All-Star nodes. I just got to now find a time to get the radios ready to operate with them. But hopefully I can get something on the air here within the next month. It'd kind of be nice.
Yeah, it would be nice. If I were you, I'd wait till after the first of the year. Maybe you'd have the time. A lot of my projects are going to wait till after that. I'm not gonna send for anything for quite some time. I don't think. At least nothing serious. ZTO sent some radios over here. A couple of Motorola Astro Spectrums, the trunk mounts, and I got to play with both of those. One of them is serviceable and it works. It's just programmed off about 5 memories. It says one thing, but you got to go over 5 channels to get the actual pair.
Oh wow! Now, the software for programming those, do you have that, or does he have that?
I don't think he has the software. I definitely do not. I think there might be a programming cable with a box in between, if you will. It's marked otherwise, but it might work for this. Again, I'm unsure. And I don't really have, I guess, an operating, not a repeater, a computer for that.
Yeah, we used to call those rib kits. Really, and actually, I'll tell you what's interesting is a lot of that software uses like computers from 15 years ago or more. And so, if you by any chance happen to have an old computer or know somebody's got like a Windows 95 computer, or if you know somebody that wants to give you one, because I know there are folks that have tons of them around. Something like that would work great. In fact, I can take a look. I might even have an old Windows 95 computer, that I could give you. I don't know what I've got left, but yeah, I mean that's really all you need.
Yeah, you could put that on the list and bring it when you can, when you find it.
I can take a look, see. But I say if you run into anybody else who's got it, because usually folks have those things sitting around. There's also it's interesting. There are a lot of recycling events and things that they have around. People bring tons of those old machines out there, and in most cases they've just deleted their files and left the operating system on in a hard drive. But some of the newer systems are just too fast to handle the software for those things. But yeah, I mean, if you can find somebody who's got the software. Actually, I was talking to Doug the other day. He's got it, and he was using an old computer in order to do the programming.
Yeah, I've got a media center here from Hewlett Packard. It's a tower, and it's either Windows 98 or Windows XP. It's been a while since I've used it. I don't really remember. And I've got another one that's a desktop, but it's not working. I think it's that old, but it needs some service.
Your Windows 95 or XP probably ought to work just fine. And most of the time, I'm trying to remember, I think it was even before USB, so I think most of them actually even used the serial port, as I recall.
They should be able to handle it. I think this one's got maybe both. I'll have to look at it again to pull it out. I know the Windows 7s are too new, but it's probably doable. He sent me some information to websites and links and whatnot. I looked at it, and there might be some things you can go in there and just change the alphanumerics on the remote head and make it right that way, perhaps without the software.
Yeah, Roger. Or actually, just kind of come up with a list of what you want in it. And tell Phil about it too, because he may run into somebody that that has the programming software that be willing to just program it for you to the list that you've got.
Well, this is his equipment, and that was the links that he sent me, so he already knows, and I think he's already looking around for somebody to do this for him. It was issued to him pre-programmed. One does not work. The phase lock loop is not locking, and the other one does. But that's his investment, and we're waiting on one adapter to come in. And I guess when he gets that done, he'll just send it out and have it done.
Cool. Yeah, no, it's all the little bits and pieces to a point. Well, it actually, I was going to say, I wish I'd kept all that old stuff. I do have some of each of the old stuff, but it's packed away in boxes and in piles and everything else. And every so often I open up a box and I was like, oh look, this is the so and so, and I was like, well, I can use that for for this. But no, it's pretty cool. And that's again one of the things that some of the hamfests, that all of a sudden you come across, somebody was selling old something for like $20, and you're like, yeah, as long as it works, that'd be perfectly fine with what I need. Well, you ready for Christmas, or you still got more stuff to do?
It's going to be a regular day for us, so there's nothing to prepare for.
Okay, Roger. How about do you decorate anything up?
This would be the second year that we did not decorate.
Well, you ought to at least put up a string of lights or something. But do you at least listen to Christmas music or something holiday?
What? More RFI?
That's probably true. I mean, you got radios and stuff like that going on down there. But yeah, you do. You're right in the middle of RFI capital down there. I would guess there's probably a lot of activity within a block of you now. I mean, that's probably a hopping place around the holiday here.
Yeah, probably. I can turn on the kitchen light in the other room, and it'll just throw all kinds of RF. It's an LED strip with a ballast of all things.
Okay, that makes all kinds of noise when it's on.
Yeah, I got to turn off some of these radios sometimes when I go in there and wash the dishes or whatever.
Yeah, I haven't noticed anything new. My kitchen light looked dim, and so I took it out to kind of see what was going on with the fluorescent bulbs, and it had 4 bulbs in it, and actually 2.5 of them were out. 2 of them were totally out, and one was just literally flickering as and only about half of it was lit. And so I replaced all those with the new LEDs, but I haven't noticed any extra RF coming off those LEDs, which is really nice.
Yeah, it's real convenient. I've got a set of something in there over the bathroom mirror, and it finally quit. You can turn it on, and it would activate a separate light and a vent fan for the bathroom, and then there was a 4 or 5 something over the mirror, and for a while there, it came to a point where it was just delayed and coming on, and it was already super bright. I didn't like it, but now it doesn't come on at all, no matter how long it switches on, which I'm fine with because it's not nearly as bright as it was.
Oh, so the light still operates, and the new brightness now is kind of more acceptable than the super bright used to be?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, roger that. Man, I went over the interstate a little while ago. 95 north of the city it's not stopped, but it can't be moving more than 10 miles an hour. I'm assuming that will be an omen for the next week of things to come.
It could be. You did miss out on some fun, though. We had an aeronautical mobile flyover earlier today on 146.52, and he probably worked a large number of us on Simplex. Tried to hit him from the home station here, and I don't think he could hear me quite yet, so I stepped outside on the HT here, and I tried to work him again, but by then he was already south of the river working everybody else on his way down to North Carolina.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh,
Yeah, it was quite unique. He was also running APRS, I think.
Oh, that's cool. So you actually see where he's at. Yeah, there's a website that actually lets you go in and see what's going on with APRS. Where people are and everything. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. Something else I stumbled across this morning and forgot about it. I had on the right radio, listening to my Radio Shack Pro 2052. If you remember the dual trunk trackers, they're up to 1,000 channels. You have to modify it. But anyways, 50.125 was in there, and I forgot about it. But net control for the single sideband net this morning, I also forgot about that. He's close enough to come in strong. And I was like, what is that? And I tried to look it up, and I was like, wait a minute. I think I know what that is. I pulled up the RTL SDR dongle and the Android and pulled them in lower sideband, and he was about the strongest I could hear, but I could pretty much hear the single sideband net if I wanted to. I feel kind of silly now. K4 ARX.
That's pretty cool. KC4 BDC. Yeah, what do you use to access the internet? Do you use your phones, or do you use like that Windows 7 or XP computer?
I'm crazy, but not that crazy. I use the Android devices.
Okay, yeah, Roger. Yeah, no, because you could set up that old thing, and Chrome would probably still run on it. But even as long as you're not doing anything too crazy, I've got some I occasionally will put on the internet with the old stuff, and it still works. I mean, some of the Windows 7 XP stuff actually still can come up, and there are a lot of times you can't go to fancy websites, but something like APRS tracker, you probably could.
That's interesting. So I guess not supported means it's not guaranteed that it won't be attacked, I guess, but you can still use certain sites.
Oh yeah, so a lot, and actually, what's interesting is a lot of the older systems are safer than the newer ones, because on a lot of the older systems, the things that people wrote for those were they had to come in through attachments on emails and stuff like that, because those were in the days before the computer talked on its own a lot. Now things come in, as attachments and phishing and all that, but they also come in through malicious websites. But a lot of them are written for the new exploits, the weaknesses in the new versions of the operating system and all. And some of these old things didn't have that because they didn't do those kinds of checks. And so a lot of the older systems are safer than the newer ones in that regard. However, there are just a lot of functions that don't work on some of the newer ones because it requires things that are in the operating system that just didn't exist back then. But in terms of like a basic website, you can still go to a basic website and use that old stuff with probably very little concern.
Okay, so I don't need to beef up my local area network or firewall or anything like that. I can just try my luck.
I mean, like bringing one of those old systems online. Yeah, and I mean, just as long as you're going to websites, because a lot of the controls that, some of it was ActiveX. I mean, there was just a whole bunch of crazy things that allowed the operating, or actually allowed the browser to do new stuff, and even some things that allowed the operating system to do new stuff didn't exist back then. So like you could put a Windows 95 computer on, and chances are that there's nobody out there, still with any exploits for that. And if so, they're probably coming in through email or through other things that you're not doing anyway. And it just doesn't run some of the stuff, and that's what you'll find. I mean, you'll see that something's not running properly, or the website will kind of lock up on you because it's trying to do something. But a lot of the old stuff will still continue to work, and that's what I say when I tell you that my computer talks on the internet more than I do. When I look at the traffic that comes out of the computer, it's doing more things on its own than I do when I sit at it. KS4 VDC.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. That kind of explains why some of the e-log devices in the trucks, the optoelectronics and the Qualcomms, they're Windows 95 and whatnot, and they still seem to work on the cellular service, of course, and you can download certain sites. Like I said before, I sent myself a message via Facebook from the truck to my own account, and I've watched YouTube videos in the truck too.
Sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, for so a lot of the older stuff, it'll still go online, and it just like I say, it just depends upon what it is. I mean, one of the things that I've got it's not a set. I'm trying to think. I don't know what it may be, an XP, but anyway, I've got one that it still goes online. It still has a valid Norton account that I pay for every year to kind of keep the, make sure the antivirus kind of stays on it, just in case I do download something malicious. The problem is that all of a sudden the video will blank and the machine will reset itself, and that's because some of the new video things that are happening on websites. A lot of websites now, you kind of go to the website and it will start with almost a TV commercial. Some of those things are so high res that the graphics chips that I have inside the old computer just won't handle it, and so once it tries to handle something way too graphically intense, it just reboots the computer. So I just kind of make a note, don't go to that website again.
That makes pretty good sense. Yeah. Well, it's been 20 minutes of working on these things. It's taken a while, and they haven't opened the repeaters back up yet.
Yeah, Roger. I actually just passed the state police headquarters on Brook Road. There is so much interference from right around that area. Something that causes, and I don't know if it's a harmonic or what, but the 14697 that I don't even know, it used to be the Virginia Beach repeater. It's in this radio because Michael used to spend a lot of time down at ODU. That's where he went to school. So we had it programmed for Tidewater and for here. But something comes in full scale, a digital signal on 14697. I just went past that. It came in just kind of blasting.
Okay, sounding like for a moment there, before you came back, there was a breaking station. Go ahead and try again, breaking station. This is K4KRX or KC4VDZ.
This is K2MTV. And William is my brother Michael. Hello, sir. Have you picked up your package? I do have my package, yes. Hey, Roger. Man, traffic is pretty heavy out here. Of course, I'm on Route 1 now, and I think the traffic is so heavy here because 95 is a disaster. So people are getting off and are going up Route 1. Michael, you've got mom in the car. It's hard to talk, but meet William, K4RX. William, meet Michael, K2MTV.
Hey, Michael and Mom, this is William. Portable over here. We're right across the interstate from the repeater site, Upper Saco Valley.
Oh yeah, you must be on 295, around that one section right there. Once you come up on Staples Mill Road, you'll be fine. You're kind of way under the ground right now, and with your antenna on the trunk and all that. So. Interesting, because I mean you're full scale. I'm here at exit 45 right now, or one final 45. No, right to that, you mean? Anyway, back to normal, which is fine. I'm going to go over 95 here again, William, let you know. Actually, you can look out and see too on your side. Oh yeah, it's not stopped. They're probably they've now increased their speed. They're probably going about 25. But yeah, it's really slow up here.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm not going to look out the window right now. But I could do, and I'm going to pull up the map here and see how terrible it looks.
Yeah, Michael, he's right next to the interstate, right across the street
Yes, sir, that's correct. William. And it's nice to meet you, Michael. As far as I can tell via Google Maps, as far as those are north of here, and there's an incident if you pass Bryant Park. But that's all I'm seeing right now.
Well, yeah, he'll get around that without any problem the way he's going to be coming. Yeah, and actually, hopefully you'll hear Michael, quite a bit more once we get the All-Star up and operational. That's one of the intents for it is to bring Michael, W4YMA from Myrtle Beach and from a whiskey baker, 3-acre from Nashville. That's one of the main intents is to bring those guys back on. They're all, well, except for Michael. The other two are Richmond guys.
That's a good deal. I can't wait for that to happen. I'd like to hear all that, goings on.
Yeah, it should be fun. We used IRLP for a long time, but IRLP is kind of being replaced by All-Star. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think the audio clarity is much greater on IRLP. Those people having IRLP, it seems that there's just many more connections, thousands of more connections now on All-Star, and also using the Pi-Star environment. A lot of people are just using All-Star as a result of that. Although you can get IRLP on Pi-Star as well.
Gonna have to get off the Android here. It's about dead.
Well, that was going to be
And I can't charge it with the dongle on.
With a Pi-Star IOP radio, but then as we started looking at All-Star, some of the other things that All-Star did, and a number of users, that's what I kind of think why we switched over to that. So, all right, guys, I'm going to be out of the car for a minute. KS4 VDC.
Okay, that's fine. I'm going to be listening for a while anyways. See if these other two repeaters come back online. K4 ARX portable.
What else are you listening to there, William, that you're waiting to come back on?
We're running some service on the Richmond Amateur Telecommunications Society repeaters, the rats machines, both VHF and UHF. It's been waiting for a while. They've already done some maintenance on the Metropolitan Repeater Association or the MRA repeater a month or so ago. So they're kind of making their rounds around the area and doing their service.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, cool. Because this trip is the radio has been exceptionally quiet. Usually I hear a lot more activity on the repeaters around here, but for some reason this trip has been exceptionally quiet down here. It was busy the whole way down, but down here it's been quiet this trip.
Yeah, I'm sure it has. There's been a lot of activity on Simplex today. I was telling your brother that we worked a aeronautical mobile on 146.52 this morning, and that's where the attention's been mostly. Some of the other attention goes over to GMRS actually. So some of these guys, they bounce back and forth between this and that.
But that's really interesting too with the GMRS because in August and I put GMRS frequencies in that. I was shocked. There is on GMRS. In fact, I just need to subscribe and get a license. Obviously, it's easy once you got the FRS just to add another, and get another call sign. But I was shocked at how much activity there was on it.
Oh yeah, it's starting to gear up around here pretty good. I think the most common frequencies used as far as repeaters go is going to be, let's see, I know it's 18, 20, probably 17 and 16. I'm going to pull up the correct frequencies for that. But it's a few of the top channels. It's going to be frequency 462.725 for 16. It's going to be 17, here it is, 462,600, 18, 462,625, and 462,675 for 20. But it's pretty much the top 8 pairs, and most of them are pretty much busy.
And do they link those? That was one thing I didn't know because I've only listened to it while doing other things. I haven't concentrated on it. But do they link together or not?
No, none of these pairs are linked here in this Commonwealth. I understand it's widely used that way in Georgia, but and they use all 8 pairs. It's probably all the same conversation no matter what channel you use, but we do not do that here.
And are those the only 4 channels that you can put a repeater on?
Now, there's 4 other channels. You've got 8 pairs to play with, and you don't even have to use a repeater if you don't want to. If you've got a 45 or 50 watt radio, it's just as easy to talk to anybody direct or simplex as it is to a repeater.
I've heard lots of simplex, but they can put a repeater on any one of the pairs that's out there. It doesn't matter. There's no restrictions.
No, it's still a shared service. It's shared between all the stations, and nobody has, say, authority over any others. You can put up a repeater, put a tone on it, so it's restricted access, if you will. But or tune out some of the local noise here downtown. But it's all shared service. The only real restrictions are 5 watts on the first 7 channels. I believe it's up to 2 watts now for 8 through 14, and then 15 through 22, you got 50 watts. And that's shared with direct stations and the repeaters.
And one more question that I'll be arriving at his house here momentarily. So, is there a link someplace similar to
I got parts of that. I tried again. There they are. 30 plus minutes into this.
Too noisy. We'll talk again. William, we'll talk again. K2 FTB is clear.
Okay, well, just for reference, that was perfect. K4ERX portable.
Okay, yeah, so my question is there a list someplace that has the PLs listed?
There, you can go to mygmrs.com, and you can look up local repeaters, and then you ask permission to use that, and give them permission to use that particular repeater. They'll give you the tones for that.
Great, outstanding. Okay, I'm just back in here.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, most of the guys are nice enough to let you in. There's little reason to keep you locked out. That's just it's similar but different to amateur radio, and it's probably got more to do with a little bit of policing and more so of just taking care of the equipment, just like any other repeater. 7.3 K4ERX. All right, so we got confirmation of test transmissions on UHF and VHF for the RATS machines. I heard it on the scanner radio app for VHF, and before that I heard it on UHF on the Motorola Radius CM300. Man, she's sawing some logs in there. I'm going to refill my coffee real quick. Let it run for a little bit longer.
WA4MJH.
Did I miss anything? No, you couldn't tell me anyways, could you? I know that when they do these things, it just takes time. And that's okay. It's just nice to, yeah, they can get those things done, get them squared away for it. It freezes hard again. We didn't have a really deep freeze more than a week ago. We got some snow, then later on that Monday, and teeny tiny bit, I think, just a couple days ago. More so rain than anything else. And we got a lot of wind yesterday. Wow. It was breezy. Yeah, it's only 40 miles an hour, but enough to topple some trees, bring down some power lines, cause a little more chaos than usual. But that's what goes on around here, I guess. Still neat hearing that aeronautical mobile this morning. Still had some fun listening to the single sideband net on 6 meters. Probably gonna have to make that a project for after the first of the year at some point, maybe. I did see a lot of 6 meter radios this month on eBay of the portable version, and it was the big box set from ICOM. Probably saw half a dozen of those available, and maybe one or two from Cherokee way back when in the 90s, or you get a handy talkie size. Maybe one or two of those, like the 10 meter version or 11 meters from Cherokee. All the way around, still pretty neat. And I guess if I had $300 or $400, I could have a big ICOM I could sling over my shoulder like a boombox and talk on 6 meters, single sideband. That'd be kind of cool, kind of neat. With the telescoping antenna on top. I believe that was Air Carrier Eagle. They're doing their thing. They've been running some patients around, and
Air Carrier Eagle, transmission feedback broken. Say again?
again. Well, I guess she wasn't being serious. Neither was I. Huh. Even they get to the point where they can't hear each other at times.
Air Carrier Eagle, just confirming you're down and secure.
Hmm. wonder how much longer this is going to take. I have no idea. All right, well, I gave it a shot. I'm going to stop it here. I'm already 45 minutes into this video, so got this far. Thanks.